In front of, the car was parked right in front of the building entrance. Behind, the dog was hiding behind the couch when the thunder started. Next to, she sat next to me during the entire flight. Between, the new cafe is located between the bank and the bookstore. Across from, there's a great pizza place right across from my apartment. Near, we found a hotel near the train station for convenience. By, leave your shoes by the door before you come inside. Round, we walked around the park for almost an hour. Through, the kids ran through the sprinklers all afternoon. Along, there are several nice restaurants along the river. Toward, he walked slowly toward the exit, still looking back at her. Into, she walked into the meeting 10 minutes late. Out of, he stormed out of the room without saying a word. Onto, the cat jumped onto the kitchen counter again. Above, there's a small shelf above the sink for spices. Below, the parking garage is located below the main building. Under, the remote fell under the couch again. Over, a plane flew directly over our house this morning. Past, we drove past our old house on the way to the airport. On the way to, I'll grab some coffee on the way to work. Up ahead, there's a gas station up ahead if you need to stop. Down the street, the pharmacy is just down the street from here. Around the corner, the bakery is right around the corner from my place. In the middle of, the fountain is right in the middle of the square. On the other side of, the restaurant is on the other side of the bridge. At the end of, her office is at the end of the hallway. In the corner, the Christmas tree is set up in the corner of the living room. In the back of, the extra chairs are stored in the back of the closet. Up front, let's sit up front so we can hear better. In the middle of nowhere. Our cabin is literally in the middle of nowhere. No signal at all. Off the beaten path. We found a beautiful little village off the beaten path. Out of the way. The new highway is a bit out of the way, but it's faster. In the neighborhood. There's a great bakery in the neighborhood I just discovered. All over the place. His clothes were scattered all over the place after the trip. Back and forth. She kept pacing back and forth while waiting for the results. Side by side. The two houses were built side by side on the same lot. Up and down. He was jumping up and down when he heard the good news. In the distance, we could see the mountains in the distance from the balcony. Within walking distance. Luckily, the office is within walking distance of my apartment. Adjacent to. The parking lot is adjacent to the main entrance. In the vicinity of. There are several good schools in the vicinity of the new neighborhood. On the outskirts of. They bought a farmhouse on the outskirts of the city. In the heart of. The hotel is located in the heart of downtown. At the foot of. The village sits at the foot of the mountain. On the corner of. The coffee shop is right on the corner of Main and Fifth. In the direction of. He pointed in the direction of the old church. Beyond. There's nothing but farmland beyond that hill. At the top of. Her office is at the top of the building, on the 15th floor. At the bottom of. We found the box at the bottom of the storage room. In front of V's behind a side. Here's one more inside. The keys are inside the drawer next to the bed. Outside. We left our umbrellas outside by the front door. In front of. The kids lined up in front of the school waiting for the bus. Behind. There's a small garden hidden behind the restaurant. Next to. Please park your bike next to the fence, not in the walkway. Between. The disagreement happened between the two managers during the meeting. Across from. The pharmacy is right across from the hospital entrance. Near. They decided to build their house near the lake. By. She left her umbrella by the front desk this morning. Round. The tour guide led us around the old castle for 2 hours. Through. Sunlight streamed through the curtains early in the morning. Along. We stopped at a few small shops along the coast. Toward. The dog ran excitedly toward its owner at the gate. Into. The ball rolled into the storm drain before anyone could catch it. Out of. Water started leaking out of the pipe under the sink. Onto. The waves crashed onto the rocks as the storm approached. Above. The clock hanging above the fireplace stopped working last week. Below. There's a small storage unit below the staircase. Under. He found an old photo tucked under a stack of papers. Over. A hawk circled slowly over the field for several minutes. Past. The train sped past the platform without even slowing down. On the way to... We picked up snacks on the way to the movie theater. Up ahead. There's construction up ahead, so traffic might be slow. Down the street. My best friend actually lives just down the street from me. Around the corner. There's a tiny bookstore around the corner that most people don't know about. In the middle of... He suddenly stopped in the middle of his sentence. On the other side of... The vending machine is on the other side of the cafeteria. At the end of... There's a nice view of the city at the end of this trail. In the corner. She keeps her yoga mat rolled up in the corner of the bedroom. In the back of... He tossed the spare tire in the back of the truck. Up front. The driver asked the tall passengers to sit up front for more legroom. In the middle of nowhere. Their wedding venue was this gorgeous barn in the middle of nowhere. Off the beaten path. If you want authentic food, go somewhere off the beaten path. Out of the way. Could you move your bag? It's a little out of the way there. In the neighborhood. A new coffee shop just opened up in the neighborhood. All over the place. After the party, confetti was all over the place the next morning. Back and forth. The negotiations went back and forth for almost 3 weeks. Side by side. The two paintings were hung side by side in the gallery. Up and down. The elevator kept going up and down without stopping on our floor. In the distance. You could hear thunder rumbling in the distance before the rain started. Within walking distance. The apartment we picked is within walking distance of 2 subway stations. Adjacent to. The new gym is adjacent to the community pool. In the vicinity of. There was a small fire reported in the vicinity of the warehouse. On the outskirts of. The factory was built on the outskirts of town to reduce noise complaints. In the heart of. The museum sits right in the heart of the old city. At the foot of. There's a small chapel at the foot of the hill. On the corner of. We're meeting at the cafe on the corner of Baker and 3rd. In the direction of. She glanced quickly in the direction of the noise. Beyond. The trail continues for another mile beyond the waterfall. At the top of. There's a great view of the harbor at the top of the tower. At the bottom of. The old letters were buried at the bottom of the trunk. Inside. Make sure the fire extinguisher stays inside the kitchen cabinet. In front of. A long line had already formed in front of the ticket booth by 9. Behind. The real story behind the scandal finally came out years later. Next to. I always keep my phone charger next to the bed. Between. Communication between the two departments has improved a lot lately. Across from. He works in the office right across from mine. Near. The campsite we booked is near a small waterfall. By. Stand by the window so I can get a good photo of you. Around. The rumors spread quickly around the entire office. Through. We had to go through security twice because of the delay. Along. Street vendors set up their stalls all along the boardwalk. Toward. The company seems to be shifting toward a more remote-friendly policy. Into. He accidentally walked into the glass door at the mall. Out of. The magician pulled a rabbit out of his hat, classic trick. Onto. She climbed onto the roof to fix the antenna herself. Above. Their apartment is directly above a busy noodle shop. Below. The temperature dropped below freezing overnight. Under. The contract clearly states the terms under Section 3. Over. They've been arguing over the same issue for weeks now. Past. It's already past midnight, and he still hasn't texted back. On the way to. I'll stop by the pharmacy on the way to your place. Up ahead. I can see a traffic jam up ahead. Might want to take a detour. Down the street. There's a new dentist office down the street from the mall. Around the corner. Her birthday is just around the corner. We should plan something. In the middle of. The power went out right in the middle of the movie. On the other side of. The best seafood restaurant is on the other side of the harbor. At the end of. Everything will make sense at the end of the presentation. In the corner. The old piano has been sitting in the corner untouched for years. In the back of. He keeps a spare umbrella in the back of his car. Up front. She always pays up front to avoid any surprise charges later. In the middle of nowhere. Our flight got delayed, and we were stuck in the middle of nowhere for hours, off the beaten path. The travel blog recommended a few off the beaten path spots in Portugal. Out of the way. I don't mind driving you. It's really not out of the way at all. In the neighborhood. Word spread fast in the neighborhood about the break-in. All over the place. His handwriting was all over the place. I could barely read it. Back and forth. The two kids kept passing the ball back and forth in the yard. Side by side. The old and new buildings stand side by side downtown. Up and down. The stock price has been going up and down all week. In the distance, a lighthouse blinked steadily in the distance as the ferry approached. Within walking distance, we specifically chose a hotel within walking distance of the beach. Adjacent to, the bakery opened a new seating area adjacent to the main shop. In the vicinity of, police are asking anyone in the vicinity of the park to come forward. On the outskirts of, rent is much cheaper on the outskirts of the capital. In the heart of, the protest took place right in the heart of downtown. At the foot of, the small town sits quietly at the foot of the mountains. On the corner of, the old bookstore used to be on the corner of 5th and Main. In the direction of, everyone turned in the direction of the loud crash. Beyond, his ambitions clearly go beyond just running this one store. At the top of, her name has been at the top of the waiting list for months. At the bottom of, this issue seems to be at the bottom of everyone's priority list. Inside, there's a hidden compartment inside the old desk drawer.